السوبر ستارز للفيلم. رح نشوف شوية بريفيو عن ذا هوبيت وموضوعه.
You asked me once if I had told you everything there was to know about my adventures. Well, I can honestly say I have told you the truth. I may not have told you all of it.
The Hobbit هو البريكول لأفلام Lord of the Rings. القصة من بدايتها يلي ابتكرها الكاتب J.R.R. تولكين، وبعد أسبوعين من ظهور الفيلم بأمريكا حطم كل الأرقام القياسية بالبوكس أوفيس.
And if you do, you will not be the same.
Peter, it's always great to see you. Obviously, you've done the opposite of Tolkien. You did the trilogy before and then The Hobbit. Did that change a little bit the approach? The fact that Lord of the Rings was out?
I think it did, and I think it did it for the better as well, because doing it this way around, for me it was important to have a foot in both doors. So in other words, I wanted to make, have the slightly more whimsical, humorous story that The Hobbit is, but also make it feel like it comes from the same filmmaker that made The Lord of the Rings. And one day there are going to be 6 movies in a box set, so I wanted to have a kind of a themic and a style kind of unity across the 6.
What is Baggins's precious.
وهلا لكل نجوم فيلم ذا هوبيت يلي واصلين على الرويال بريمير لفيلم ذا هوبيت ان انكسبكتد جيرني هون على الجرين كاربت بلندن. Diving into the world of Tolkien or Peter Jackson, or a little bit of both?
I think they're both. Yeah. I think it's important to remember that no one is a bigger fan of Tolkien than Peter Jackson. So it felt that I was entering their joint world.
So this was a wonderful experience for everyone. For any reason?
Oh, yeah, a lot of reasons. I mean, for starters, to work with someone like Peter Jackson, who's, just such a revolutionary filmmaker. He's not frightened to take risks. I mean, the 3D 48 frames. I mean, that was a really big call, and I think it's definitely paid off.
Great ensemble, great set, great director. Nothing to complain about, right?
Well, plenty to complain about when you're in makeup for an hour every morning at 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, so we did our fair share of moaning as well, yeah.
When you were part of Lord of the Rings, did you read The Hobbit? Did you think it could make a good story?
I read Lord of the Rings first, and then I read The Hobbit later, so I kind of did it back to front, but I knew all about it.
Was he someone you enjoyed playing?
I loved playing Bilbo, and I've got to go back next year and do more. I love playing him, and there he is with his ears, and he's a thoroughly decent, fun character to play, yeah.
What do you feel the fans enjoy most about Gandalf and your portrayal of him?
You have to ask them, I think. I suppose a lot of the young fans think of him as a rather grandfatherly figure who doesn't speak down to them, protects them, looks after them, and has fun with them. I suppose that's it.
Please make her feel welcome. It's Kate Blanchett!
This is one of those holy grails of a complete family film, I think. I mean, there's some scary bits in there, but it's so heartwarming but funny, and there's not a trace of sentiment in it. And then you've got this incredible fight sequence. So what could be better than that?
هالشهر على MBC2 رح نكتشف كل أفلام Lord of the Rings من التريلوجي The Return of the King, The Two Towers وأيضاً الأول The Fellowship of the Ring. خلينا نكتشف سوا كل هالأفلام والانترفيوز يلي أجريتها لإلهم.
Sauron needs only this ring to cover all the lands in darkness.
What must I do?
Ring must be destroyed.
Do you feel like it's a bit of initiatic journey, that changes everybody forever?
I think one of the great marks of a good story is when you can meet characters who are experiencing life in a particular way, and at the end the characters emerge in a way somehow changed, and that's certainly the case in J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings trilogy.
It's unlike anything you'll see before. I think it's just the subject matter is just an incredible
It's an incredible story, you know, it's an incredible journey that this fellowship goes on and the people that they encounter.
Do you feel that Two Towers and Return of the King are more linked?
I believe so, absolutely. I think the Two Towers blends into the third film a little bit more than the first one into the second. I think in this film the journeys really begin and you want to see the continuation of that journey, and I think it leaves you on a bit more of a cliffhanger at the end of this as well.
Oh, I'm so completely cliffhanger. I can't wait.
I know, me neither.
What will you remember from her in terms of, you know, how elegant she is, the poise she always has? Was it difficult to get out of that body language because it's so the way you should be?
No, it wasn't difficult to get out of it. It was difficult to be in it,
Yeah,
you know.
of course.
But I've really enjoyed playing her. It'd be sad to say goodbye.
I did think it was a difficult job for the director, but I think in this third and last part of the trilogy, he goes far beyond what he did in the second one. In fact, far beyond anything anybody's ever done.
من وراء الكواليس رح نتكلم مع المخرج بيتر جاكسون عن أهمية تصوير فيلم ذا هوبيت بنيوزيلند وين اللاندسكيبس رائعين.
Far to the east, over ranges and rivers, lies a single solitary peak. The dwarves are determined to reclaim their homeland.
For you, what does the passion come from? Why is this story so important for you to tell over and over again in a different way every time?
As a kid, I wanted to make movies, and I loved Ray Harryhausen movies like The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad and Jason and the Argonauts and the original King Kong. So these types of escapist films are really, you know, why I'm a filmmaker. So there's nothing better than J.R.R. Tolkien. I mean, nothing better than these stories.
Good, sir. Thank you very much.
Is there such thing as an instant chemistry with a director, and does it matter?
I think the atmosphere on set absolutely gets handed down from the director. And so to be on one of the most ambitious films of all time, and for it to be probably the least pretentious set that I've ever stepped onto, I mean, that's Peter Jackson.
Action! How did the technology change the whole process? I mean, now we're seeing it as if we were back home in New Zealand.
The films today are much more immersive, they're much more realistic, there's just more detail in them. But, you know, that's good. I mean, I think that cinema has to develop. It's 2012. We need to be trying to get children off of their iPads and back into the cinemas again. You know, if I felt like I was a filmmaker making a movie for an iPad, I think I'd retire, quite honestly. You know, I want to do whatever I can to make that experience in the cinema more magical and mystical than ever before.
How did the 3D change the acting exercise?
Pete wasn't asking me to kind of, you know, point my sword down the lens, or, you know, he wasn't asking you to do anything that felt 3D-ish. So no, it didn't. The only way it affected me was because the technology was new, and so at the beginning, every hour and a half, the cameras would stop and break down and need a rest and a cup of tea, and then we would have to kind of go again.
And Gollum!
Talking about 3D and advanced technologies, it feels like you enjoy the learning process that it brings. Is it the right impression?
You know, as a director, I like to make films as immersive as I can. I think it's just a natural style that I kind of employ. I move the camera around a lot. I tend to use wide-angle lenses. Just pushing that further, you know, 3D enhances that for me. You know, shooting at a high frame rate, like doubling the frame rate to 48 frames a second, gives you a sense of reality, like you've taken the screen away and you're looking into the real world.
Seeing the film in heightened 3D, I felt like I was there. So how did you feel when you first saw it?
It's strange because there were occasions when it felt like we were back on set working and I could touch Martin, grab his arm. But I've seen it 3 times now, and every time I've seen something different. The detail is extraordinary.
Got the ropes!
Were Or you think of the limit you didn't want to cross between making it real but still escapist? I mean, cinema's all about escapism.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think I think that they are one and the same. I mean, I think the more that you believe in what you see, the more real that you're feeling it. The more the more the illusion is that you are part of a story and adventure that's unfolding on the screen, and it's a story. It's the events on screen that are escapist. The technology just helps to get you there.
So this is your purpose, to enter the mountain?
What of it?
There are some who would not deem it wise.
لحظات قليلة ومنكمل حلقة الليلة من برنامج سكوب الخاصة بفيلم ذا هوبيت مع البيج اكسكلوسيف انترفيوز لكل نجوم الفيلم كيت بلانشيت، إيان ماككيلن، وأيضا البيهايند ذا سينز. خليكن معنا.